Hello everybody and welcome again to this channel. As I mentioned in the last video that today in this video that we're going to be talking about you, the formation of what made you the version of yourself. So I'm going to be asking, who are you? What made you you? Right, so to make this a bit more interesting and relatable, we are going to be looking at this from the lens of a building, right? The building of you. So take a look at this building, see how beautiful it looks, the painting, the flowers, the trees around it, the inside. What does the architecture look like inside, right? How is it being designed in the inside? And not to forget the foundation, which is one of the most important thing about us, about a building that makes a building strong. So this is getting interesting. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about the foundation of the building or the creation of you. You know, like I said earlier, we're going to be looking at this from the lens of a building, right? So what was the foundation like? Who was involved in the creation of you? What was put together while you were being formed? So at this point, what if I said your parents actually created you? Your parents were the architects that came together to form who you are. To back that a bit up scientifically, for every individual, we have 46 chromosomes, of which 23 belongs to our father and 23 belongs to our mother. Out of those 46 chromosomes, there are 20,000 genes in them. So this 20,000 genes is what forms you, right? Talk about the color of your hair, talk about the color of your eyes, the color of your skin, your fingernails, your fingerprints. That is where the DNA saga that we know in our society comes from, right? The DNA determines the real father or the real mother of a child. So these are the things that actually formed you, that goes into your foundation. So I would say either your parents believed it or they liked it or not, they are the architects or the creators of your blueprint. They brought you to life even before you took your first breath. So would you agree with me that your parents created you? Oh yeah. Your DNA is not the only thing that makes you. So that will take us to the next level where we're going to be talking about the structure or your upbringing. So the structure of the building, what makes the structure of the building, or how was your upbringing, or who were the people that was with you during your formation or your upbringing period. Stay with me.
Hello, Big Thinkers. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Let's move on to the next part. Like I said earlier, it is not only your DNA that has formated or influenced the version of who you have become. And don't also forget that we said we're going to be looking at this from the perspective or from the lens of a building. So what happens after the formation period, the creation period, where the parents come together and made, you through the DNA, the genes, the chromosomes, right? What happens after that? Then we have the structure being put in place. There we talk about how the inner view of the building is going to look like. How do we carve out the rooms? How do we carve out the kitchen? How do we carve out if there's going to be stairways and all of that? What actually forms all of that for you as a building of you? So it's your upbringing. Your upbringing actually influences that aspect. But before then, I have a question for you. Are you still the same person you were at birth? Absolutely not, right? So what changed? What changed? What changed from you being a child that only needed milk to survive and to an adult full of ideas, emotions, beliefs, and all of that? What changed from birth to you being an adult. So there are a lot of things that would have changed, but for the most part, those who would have influenced that aspect of your life had those that are really close to you while you were growing up. So who are we really talking about? We're talking about your parents, we're talking about your caregivers, we're talking about who else? Your guardians, right? Those are the people that you are mostly close with from time of birth to your adulthood. And those actually have great influence on who you are or the version of who you have become. So interestingly, your parents, your guardians, or your caregivers, let's look at them as the builders that are looking at how many rooms do we even want to create? How should the walls in this inner view or design of this building should be? How do we carve out the kitchen? Okay, so is this going to be a duplex? Whatever. Your caregivers or your parents actually influence how your emotional walls have been framed. So talk about the parents, the caregiver, the guardians, depending on their personality type or their parenting style. All these have influence on how your emotions have been formed. So I have a question. Were your emotions based or made out of resilience or silence? How often were you being shut down when you have an idea or suggestions to make rather than you being redirected on how to present this idea? You're being shut down and they let these ideas down inside of you. So how about the rules? Were the rules nurturing or controlling? Did you have that freedom of expression? So in other words, the structure can be strong, fragile, or somewhere in between. This can be determined and has great influence on how the immediate family, like immediate caregiver, parents, or guidance, help to mold that part of your life. So here we've talked about the formation part and we've also talked about the upbringing part. Right now we are going to talk about the garden, and don't forget we said we're going to be looking at this from the perspective or from the lens of a building, how you were built. So at this point we're going to be talking about the garden that surrounds you, the trees, the flowers, the painting of the exterior of the building, right? Which amounts to the environment that you have. So the question here is, are you really you? Or you are being shaped by a pseudo personality? There is what is called pseudo personality. That is the you that is not you. Living another life that you're not supposed to be living, right? So that's the question to you at this point. The outside world continues to influence you, right? Talk about how the color of the building is, talk about the trees you have around, the flowers, talk about the design, talk about what makes your building unique as it is, right? So in terms of this, we're talking about the building, but let's talk about it in reality. That is your environment. Talk about your religion, your belief, your school, your culture, your social media feeds. I mean, I know that is really changing right now. Your social media also has great influence on who you are now. So it's part of the list, right? All right. All of these environmental factors actually influence your habits, your beliefs, and even how you make your decisions. These are great influence on how you are also being formed. So this is where it gets interesting. So depending on where you are, Is your building fragile, strong, or in between? Wherever you are, remember that you are the author now. So let's retrack and ask some of the questions that was asked from the beginning of this video. So who are you? So what forms the version of who you are? What are the formation of what made your DNA? What has changed so far? Are you living a pseudo personality? Not forgetting that pseudo personality is a personality that is different from your initial personality, and this can be influenced by different things. It can be influenced by your upbringing, it can be influenced by your choice or self-development. It can also be influenced by your environment, right? So that is what pseudo personality is. So what are you able to answer all those questions, and where do you think you are? And this is where it gets all beautiful and meaningful. You can still change things. You are still the author or the builder of what this building is all about. Where you do not have most influence is the formation part, but for the remaining part, you are still able to rewrite the story. So in summary, your genes are the blueprints that you did not choose. They actually shape your traits and the tendencies of who you are today. So your upbringing lays the structure, forming how you relate with yourself and others. And your environment colors the world, influencing your beliefs, habits, and what feels normal to you. So now tell me, what shaped you the most? Drop your comments in the comments. I would love to hear your story. And catch you in the next video where we're going to be talking about your thoughts process. Bye for now.